Hello, welcome to PD on the Go, the podcast that delivers bite-sized learning on communication, collaboration, and facilitation for busy teacher leaders. Tune in while you're in the car, on your lunch break, or making copies, and get ready to level up your leadership skills. My name is Mary Beth Anderson, and I'm joined today by my colleagues from the Office of Professional Learning in Fairfax County Public Schools.
I'm Rebecca Hazelbeck.
Hello, Erica Williams.
And I'm Hallie Case.
So today we're going to begin to talk about how to maximize a collaborative learning team's effectiveness. And the very first step to this is identifying two key components, a team's functioning and a team's impact. And what that has on student learning. So I think we want to start just looking at what does it look like for effective collaboration to be happening on a team? So Rebecca, can you tell us what that looks like?
When I think about effective collaboration in a team setting, I see individuals who have strong relationships with one another, there's strong trust on the team, there's people sharing their ideas, and they're working well together, but they're also really focused in on student learning and what's best for kids and ensuring that students are accomplishing the outcomes that they've set for themselves. And so when I think about a team that's really collaborating, I think about a high-functioning, high-impact team. So a team not only that's able to work together well, but also is making an impact on kids, which is, we're keeping the main thing our main thing, right? We're focused in on students and student learning.
Right, so that's the goal. And when you say high functioning and high impact, I think about this tool that we have that is this team matrix, and it has like four quadrants, and it has teams that have varying levels of impact and function. So Hallie, can you tell us a little bit about that resource?
Yeah, so, it works as a matrix, right? So you can sort of scale your team, and the ideal, what you're working towards is what Rebecca already shared, the high functioning, high impact. But then there's also things like high functioning, low impact. And I mean, that always comes to mind first for me because I was on a team that was like that. We worked really well together. We really liked each other. And we talked about important things. Like we came together and we talked about what we thought students should be learning. And we, planned lessons together and we shared our resources. And so we were high functioning. But what I kind of realize now reflecting back, and I wish I knew this tool existed, is that we were low impact because we really were only talking about students and their learning when the summative assessment, like the test would come, we'd look at the assessment results, we'd say, oh, they scored the same as they did last year, these are the same things that they missed last year, and then we would move on to the next unit. And we weren't looking at data early enough, we weren't thinking about student learning early enough, and we sort of fell into this low impact because we were just taking it for what it was and didn't have forward movement for that really important piece around keeping students and their actual success in mind. So I think about that with this because we did work well together and we felt great, but we could have been doing more to impact student learning.
Yeah. What else, Erica? There's these other parts too. So we've got two, Rebecca and Hallie talked about two high functioning teams, one with high impact, one with low impact. And then what are the other examples?
So there's low functioning and high impact. So teams come together and they may not work so well together. They may not collaborate as much. Maybe each person has their own perspective and their own teaching strategies, and they go in their classrooms and there's high impact there. So students are performing well. And when the team comes together, though, they may not be on the same page. Another quadrant, which we would hope to steer away from, would be low functioning and low impact. So the team isn't working well together. They may not like each other. And also, student results show that there is not an increase in learning. And certainly, that's where we want to try to do some reflection quickly and think about ways to sort of increase the functioning on the team and to increase student impact.
Yeah, and when you say we want to kind of steer away from that or see where we are, I think the first step for teams is to identify where they are on this matrix so that they can reflect and make some decisions to get to that goal of impacting student achievement. So how can teams identify where they are, or how can that be helpful to them?
Yeah, I mean, I think having the team impact matrix as a reflection tool, both for the team leader, but also for the team. Like, let's come together and really talk about, where do we see ourselves in this? What evidence do we have to support it? If we're saying, oh, well, we think we're high impact, how do we know? And really using it as a true reflection tool, and trying to reach some consensus so that people are having a true reality and agreeing with where they are as a team. Because I think from there, then you can have some action steps to move forward. So that's one way, is just as reflection.
Yeah. And after that reflection, like Hallie started mentioning, creating a team goal to think about how to move forward, talking about what it would look like and sound like to make some of those changes, and even coming up with some ways to progress monitor to know that they're making steps towards the goal that they've created for themselves, so that people feel excited about the work that they're doing. Collaboration is deepened, and also, most importantly, student learning increases, because that's why we're all here. Rebecca?
Yeah, I think a little bit about the example Hallie gave on the team that she was on, and how setting a goal together would be supportive of that team, and thinking about how they might be able to formatively assess students throughout the unit and not just at the end, right? So that they know students are learning, and then hopefully that impact would increase.
Yeah, I mean, we were well-intentioned, you know? And so a little bit, it was just like, we just needed a guide to know that our good intentions were going in the right direction in this way, and that maybe we needed to shift a little bit in order to have the impact piece in mind.
Yeah, just one small shift.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what you guys are talking about is making me think a lot about, it can't just be the team leader that looks at this matrix and makes these decisions. It really needs to be the whole team to see what the goal is of the high impact, high function, and be able to make some small steps towards that. So today we're going to share with you a resource that you can look at this matrix, and a reflection tool that you can do with your team. And you can find that on our Instagram page at FCPS_PD. And next week, we're going to be talking more about what you can do. What are those small shifts to shift your team closer to that high function and high impact? So thank you for joining us today for PD on the Go, and we hope to see you next week.